Right. The name of this unit is Computer Systems and Software. I thought to start this, now because it is very interesting and introductory unit. It's about uh, the introduction to computers. So let us see how it is helpful. Like learning outcome one is understanding components of a computer, and second learning outcome is understanding computer software. So obviously you are dealing with the computer software and hardware. Uh, let us start with uh, uh, this presentation slide. Computer system and software. Understand the components of a computer system. What is a computer? In simple words, we can say that any device that can compute or calculate is known as a computer. A computer is a device that accepts data in one form and processes it and produces data in other form. A computer is capable of processing data, and data then becomes an information. Any information fed to it can be arranged, presented in more easily understandable and useful form. So simply, whoever is asking the basic definition of the computer, you simply say any device that can compute or calculate is also known as a computer. Major components of a computer system: normally hardware and software. In simple words, a hardware consists of electronic devices, the parts you can see and touch. So hardware is defined by the physical components of the computer that you can see as well as touch. The term device refers to any piece of hardware used by the computer such as keyboard, mouse, modem, and monitor, etc. Probably these are the very basic terms maybe taught in the schools, but their proper definitions, proper classifications, and terminologies are much more important for an IT professional to know in very detail and very accurately with particular definitions. Software, also called a program, consists of an organized set of instructions for controlling the computer. So software is a program which controls the computer. Some programs exist for computers used to help it manage its own tasks and devices. So obviously hardware is controlled by a software. It cannot run itself. So that kind of a software is known as operating system, and other programs for the user enable the computer to perform tasks for you, such as creating documents. So software is basically classified as a program that you use to utilize the hardware, but one kind of the software that runs the computer, controls the computer, and other type of the programs using the hardware and controlling software, you perform your tasks to be operated by the computer. Let us go in further classification. Hardware. Basically, the hardware and a unit called CPU. You must have heard about the CPU. It's called the Central Processing Unit. Normally, you might have heard that okay, you have a desktop computer. You say that you have a keyboard, you have a mouse, and you have a printer. You have a box of computer that's called the CPU. Yeah, and but basically that is not a CPU itself. That's a casing of a desktop computer. Within the casing, you normally find a motherboard, a power supply, some hard drives, floppy drives, CD-ROMs, and the actual brain of the computer is called the CPU, is called the Central Processing Unit, a processor, a microprocessor that you that is the brain of the computer, which resides in the casing located on the motherboard. So a CPU, like when you say a processor like a Pentium, like a Core 2 Duo, like a i3, i5, a chip is basically connected with output devices, input devices, and CPU processor itself is located on the motherboard. Its main parts are control unit, arithmetic and logic unit, and main memory unit. Now, control unit controls the transfer of data between CPU, memory, and CPU and I/O devices, input-output devices. Arithmetic and logic unit performs the arithmetic computations and logic comparison operations. Arithmetic is term related for the numerics. So obviously the everything within the computer is done through the digital signals and 0 1 0 1, a kind of binary data, and that we will go a little bit in the next slides, starting from the addresses. And so normally a digital term is generating from on or off. So when you say on or off, then it is digital, and by making the digital circuits, you will be dealing with on and the combination of the circuits of on and off in series. With those circuits, you get the computations, and then you get the logical operations as well. So main part is the central processing unit, which has control unit, arithmetic and logic unit, and the memory unit. Memory holds the data and data, instructions, intermediate and final results of the processing. There is also the system board or motherboard, which connects all the computers of the computer system and allows the peripheral devices. The peripheral devices like input, output, the CD-ROM, the hard drives, and mouse, keyboard, they connect with the motherboard. So the main board or motherboard is helpful for making the communication between the CPU and these devices. So overall, CPU is the central processing unit, with a processor located inside the casing of the computer, and microprocessor is the brain of the computer. Now we come to the memory types. There are two types of the memory of a computer. One is the main memory or primary memory, another is the secondary memory or backing storage device. When you talk about the memory, you must have heard about, okay, this computer laptop is 4 GB of RAM. This computer has got 1 terabyte of hard drive. So main memory is basically the temporary memory which resides into the computer as a part of the CPU. Is the main memory, primary memory has two types. One is called the random access memory. It is a volatile, holds data and instructions temporarily as long as the computer is switched on. Amount of RAM is in a computer determines which program will run and how efficiently. For example, Excel needs 20 MB, extra is needed for data and other applications. So when you start the computer, whatever you are typing, the temporary programs are open, they reside in RAM. The more the RAM you have, you can open more number of applications at one time. That is called the primary memory. That is volatile, it's changing as long as your computer is on. It is holding the data. Another part of the primary memory is ROM. Read-only memory. It is a permanent. It is the part of primary memory. It holds the data and instructions even when the computer is switched off. Data or program instructions are read-only and cannot be changed. So the primary memory is the memory of the computer. One type of the memory is RAM, which is used for the programs, and another type of the primary memory is the ROM. ROM stores the information of the computer. Sometimes it's called the firmware. For example, whatever the information of the computer hardware is, its configuration, like a booting sequence, the information about the whole architect of the computer is stored into the ROM, ROM, read-only memory. Obviously, you might have heard, that into the computers that there are certain drivers when you install the new Windows. Then you probably uh, install the drivers of the wireless, drivers of the webcam. Also, you might have seen the BIOS drivers. BIOS is basic input output system drivers. So BIOS is the ROM basically. The BIOS stores the whole internal architect of the architecture information of the computer. So RAM and ROM, they are the main memory. The second type of the computer memory is the secondary memory, or secondary memory is also called the backing storage device. So the secondary memory has again two types. One is the sequential access devices, others are the random access devices. The two primary storage technologies are magnetic or optical. So either it's a sequential or random. They can be magnetic or optical. Now the question arises that what are the sequential and random? Probably you might have seen or heard like a tape drives. Tape drives or audio cassettes, they are a magnetic, like tapes. You might have seen the films of used to be recorded on the big tapes, and they used to run on the machines. So they are a sequential devices. You cannot access those particular data randomly. If you used to have audio cassettes, then they used to be run from from start to end, and you cannot randomly access unless you reverse or forward. The other type is the random access. The random access could be the hard drives, and they are magnetic storage. So the magnetic tapes, as I discussed, the old type systems, they used to be sequential. The diskettes or floppy disks, you might have seen previously there used to be floppy drives. They are random access. Hard drives, they are random access. High capacity floppy disks, probably you might have seen. If you have more interest, then you can read the many articles, videos, and on the YouTube or in the history of the computer. Then the optical types of the storage, they are called the compact disc, read only memory, or CD-ROM. They are optical. Digital video disc, DVD-ROM, they are optical. CD recordable, CD rewritable. So there are lots of types of the fall within these, the optical devices. You can read, you can see their mechanism. If you have interest, you can go through. Now we come to the memory measuring units. So memory measuring units, the first memory measuring unit is a bit. Bit is the smallest non-addressable unit of storage, which is a computer recognizes. Bit is an abbreviation for the binary digit, which may be on or off. It is also represented by the 0 or 1. So probably you might have seen a 7 segment are now on are certain boards, like the signboards on the shops, or certain signboards on the doors. When they write with the small LEDs, what happens, the combination of the small LEDs, they make up the writing. So for example, when you are using a digital watch, when it shows you the, for example, 8 o'clock, then 8 is formed from the 7 segments, and using those 7 segments you can highlight, let's say, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So basically these things are digital, and the smallest unit of digital is on or off, or it's also called the 0 or 1. So if you say, for example, if I want to give you a signal of 0, it means off, and if it is on, it means 1. It means you can get a 2 signals. If I ask you, if I'm giving you the 2 bits, for example, uh, in parallel, first is 0, second and 0, that's one signal. First is 0, second is 1, that is another signal. And first is 1, the second one is 0, that is third signal. And if I say 1 and 1, that could be the fourth signal. So by using the 1 bit, you can communicate 2 signals. If you are using 2 bits, it means you can communicate for 4 signals. If you are using 3 bits, you can communicate the 8 signals. If you are using the 4 bits, you can communicate 16 signals. If you are using the 5 bits, you can communicate the 32 signals. So the bits are the blocks. So bit is non-addressable. For example, if I ask you to give me the address of a room, so the minimum address will be, okay, room number 1, for example, but that would be the for example, if I say you that give me the address of the corner of the room, then you cannot say that which corner, but you will have to start with a room number. So bit is the smallest one. It is non-addressable. A nibble is a group of 4 bits called nibble, while a byte is the smallest addressable unit of storage location, capable to accommodate 1 character. A character may be an alphabet, a number, or special symbols. Usually byte consists of 8 bits. So starting from the bit, a nibble is still non-addressable. A byte is the smallest addressable unit. So using 8 bits, you can create a combination of 256 numbers, and you can allocate the different numbers to different characters. For example, when you type a character, then particular code of the particular bit is transformed from the keyboard, and it is processed accordingly. Then a word is called the 16 bits. Double words are called the 4 bytes. Let us come to the very interesting fact about the kilobyte. You must have seen, okay, this one is the 1 MB, this one is the 2 MB, this one is the 1 gigabyte, one is the 256 gigabytes. Probably you might have a question that, okay, this one is the 8 GB card, this one is the 16 GB card. Okay, when you go to buy the hard drive of the 200 gigabytes, you won't be able to find it. When you say that, okay, you are going to buy the 500 the GB hard drive, but that figure doesn't appear in the hundreds and thousands, but they have a relation of the multiplication factor of 8. So when it is 8 is multiplied by 2 makes 16, and 16 is multiplied by 32, 32 multiplied by 64, 64 multiplied by 128, 128 multiplied by 512, 512 multiplied by 2 makes 1024. So 1 kilobyte is 1024 bytes. When you say that this is 1 GB of data, it means it is 1024 megabytes, the multiplication factor. It is never in the computer that you say it's in the hundreds or thousands. So similarly, a kilobyte is 1024 bytes, and each byte is the 8 bits, and a megabyte is 1024 kilobytes. So 1 megabyte is this. Gigabyte, a gigabyte is basically 1024 a megabyte. So 1 gigabyte has these bytes. A terabyte is 1024 gigabytes. So 1024 GB equal to 1024, and these bytes will make a 1 terabyte. Now, the standard methods of input. We are on the hardware now, already hardware. The keyboard is used for the input, mouse is used for the input. Certain different types of the mouse, like a trackball, trackpads, integrated point devices, these are the terms given as a classification. Like you are using the nowadays touchpad of the laptop, they come under this category. Alternative methods of the input are devices for hands, optical input devices, audiovisual input devices, like the devices for the hand, like a pen drives, touch screens, game controllers. And for the output, you normally use monitor, printer, speaker, plotters. Plotters, like they print very big, sign the papers on the. You must have seen, the big Panaflexes, multimedia projects, projector. They are the output devices. Peripheral devices. A peripheral device is defined as a computer device such as keyboard or printer that is not part of the essential computer, i.e. memory or microprocessor. So types of the peripheral devices can be the external one are the mouse, keyboard, printer, monitor, and the internal one are the CD-ROM, CD drive, modem, etc. Network types. Next topic is the network types. You might have heard about this LAN, WAN, WLAN, MAN, SAN, CAN, PAN. So LAN is the local area network, WAN is the wide area network, and other types are the related technologies associated with the LAN and WAN. So LAN and WAN are the two primary and the best known categories of networks. So let us start with the LAN, local area network. A LAN connects network devices over a relatively short distances. So whenever you are in a home, you are using PCs within the house or any building or office. They are normally connected with a one device that is called the local area network, and so they have a limitation as per room or as per number of users, maybe 4, 5, 6, 8. WAN is the wide area network that spans large physically distances. One of the major or main example is the internet. So internet is the called the WAN, wide area network. It can also be called as a LAN of LAN, or WAN is geographically dispersed collection of the LANs. So if you are talking about the internet, it means you are connecting the different LANs geographically. So WAN is the LAN of the LANs. A network called router connects the LANs to a WAN. So if you have a LAN, then probably you could switch a hub or switch that only connects the computers within the room or within the house. But if you wanted to connect your LAN, your computers to the internet, then you need a router to use the internet. So WAN is different from LAN in several important ways. So WAN is not owned by anyone. So if when you say wide area network, then it is not owned by anyone, but LAN is owned by yourself. Like within the home, you can say this is my LAN, this is my local area network. But WAN is the combination of different LANs. Nobody owns the LAN. Other types of the networks like wireless, we discussed the LAN and WAN, the wireless local area network, LAN based on Wi-Fi wireless network technology. You must have seen, oh, this is, do you have a Wi-Fi? Oh, yes, I do have. If somebody says, do you have Wi-Fi? No, I can't live without Wi-Fi. So Wi-Fi is the basic necessity nowadays. Perhaps you know the water, food, and maybe the Wi-Fi might be the third element or maybe fifth necessary element of the life. Then metropolitan area network, physically larger than the NAN but smaller when. So these are, the today's lecture has lots of stuff to study, and probably I won't be able to read one by one, but I'm giving you the major important things and ideas and discussing most of the things, and the other related categories you can go through one by one. So hardware infrastructure for networking. So network infrastructure is the hardware and software resources of an entire network that enable network connectivity, communication, operations, and management of an enterprise network. It provides the communication path and services between users, processes, applications, services, and external networks and internet. So you need a hardware and software for the networking. So hardware includes the routers, switches, LAN cards, wireless routers, cables. So router, in order to connect your LAN to internet, switches in order to increase or connect your computers within the building, a local network within a building to connect a local area network, LAN cards or the circuits or the devices which are located installed in your computers to be connected with LAN or WAN. Then the wireless routers are also called the local area network cards, which are the wireless one, the cables you connect with your computer to the devices like the switches and routers. Then you need a networking softwares, network operations and management, operating system, firewall, network security operations. So for example, if you are connecting your computer with the router, then physically you are connected with a cable or wireless, but obviously you might have seen the routers like that you wanted to configure the password of your Wi-Fi and the password of the Wi-Fi and connecting your account of internet to the ISP internet service provider, then that particular software is important and necessary to run the hardware. Networking softwares may be helpful for performance monitoring, bandwidth analysis, IP address management, troubleshooting. So possibly you could manage your passwords over the network. You could restrict the use of particular devices. For example, if you could limit the downloading of your users on your Wi-Fi, perhaps you could restrict the use of certain websites so that those could be blocked within your home, within your network, so that for example, if any filters you can apply. Now we talk about the limitations of the computer. Computers, although computers far better in performance than a human being, it fails in certain ways as follows. Computers can't think. Computers cannot think and they cannot do any job unless they are first programmed with specific instructions for same. They work as per stored instructions. Algorithms are designed by humans to make a computer perform a special task. So computer cannot think until you program it, but only there will be the programs, but they will not be able to think. Probably you could say that nowadays computer has, you know, got too much advancements, like, you know, everything is done by the computer. You have created the robots, yeah, they can do everything. They can see the, perhaps you can see that the through computers the cars can be driven without the driver, everything, and you know, the machinery is operated with the computer. But unfortunately, the you won't be able to, the computers won't be able to think or decide, because they don't have the capability to decide anything until you feed them the decisions. Computers can't express their ideas. Computers can't implement anything, you know, until they are fed to do anything. Then the next topic is the expandable systems. Ability of a computer system to accommodate additions to its capacity or capabilities. From a hardware point of view, expandability may include additional or larger hard drives, or more memory, or faster video boards. From software point of view, it may include ability to support more network users, gather number of hits from website, etc. So expandable computers are considered to be, they should have ability to scale the capacity of usage in terms of hardware and software. So that's about the first session now, and can ask the questions from this.
No questions from me.
Hello. Yes, Khalid and Yusuf, I hope you were getting the voice. Yeah.
I got no questions regarding this session.
Okay, you are okay with this?
Sorry?
You are okay with this, yeah, lecture?
Yes, I'm great, thank you.
Okay, good. And how about Khalid?
Actually, I want to know more about what is the the basic difference between ROM and RAM.
Okay, you know, as I explained that the memory has been classified into primary memory and secondary memory.
Yes.
A primary means that is must. A secondary is that maybe you should have or you should not have. Does it, you know, stop the computer to run? Then again, in the primary memory, you don't insert, but by default the RAM is installed, that you know. And you must have heard that the BIOS setup. Have you heard about the BIOS setup of the computer? Khalid?
Yes.
Have you heard about the BIOS setup of the computer?
Yes.
Yeah. So BIOS is stored into the ROM.
Okay.
Yeah. So like, you know, configuration of the, you know, computer. For example, if you set up the priority of the boot drive, for example, the computer should start from the you know, hard drive. Computer should start from the CD-ROM. So that particular memory, read-only memory, that is stored as a firmware. So ROM is permanent, RAM is volatile, but both are mandatory for the computer. Is that clear?
Yes.
Right. So any other question?
No, thanks.
I'm good, thank you.
Okay, Khalid, any other question?
No, thanks.
Okay, that's fine. So maybe take a break of 5 minutes and see you again 7 o'clock, and then we start the next session. Is that okay?
Thank you.
Sure thing.
Yeah, let's take 5-7 minutes and exactly, you know, we start at 7 o'clock. Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay. See you in a bit. Yeah.
See you.